So the Grammys are only a week away, and we need to start seriously talking about the Album of the Year nominees because they are absolutely wild. Hi, my name is Lou, and this is one of the first years that we've seen a great diversity of genres in the nominees, ranging from pop to hip-hop to rap, and whatever the hell the mixture of genres that we see on DeBÍ FOTos. Well, in this video, I'm gonna be analyzing each album while I give my personal opinion and tell you which album is most likely to win. So without any further ado, let's get into it. But before we start, we gotta start talking about criteria, because it's gonna be essential in determining which is the probability of each album to win. Now, I have 3 criteria that are gonna be essential. Number 1, the album in analysis has to be at least decently good. The second criteria is the artist had to have a certain relevancy last year, and third criteria is the artist had to have a little bit of past relevance, for example, in other albums of their career, and etc. But now let's start talking about the albums in themselves. We're starting with Mayhem by Lady Gaga, which was released on 7th of March of 2025. Now, we all know Lady Gaga, you know, she's known for Bad Romance, she's known for Born This Way, and for all the hits she's done in the 2010s. And I think she tries to do a little bit of that in this album. It also has other elements, you know, more refined elements of the present. I heard it and it has a great mixture of really vibey songs and, you know, very sad songs. I just don't think it's like one of her best works compared to her previous albums, you know. But I gotta say, it has some pretty good tracks like That Was a Smile, Abracadabra, The Disease, and Beast, for example. That's why I gave this album a 4.1 out of 5 stars, which is really, really good. But we gotta talk more about the impact of this album. We also know that this album was relevant due to That Was a Smile, a song with more than 48 billion streams, which is wild, and ended up being like one of the most listened songs in the US. So I believe that proves its relevancy. Now, tying all that info together, we get a winning probability of 7 out of 10 stars. Now that I think about it, it should be a winning probability of 8 out of 10, but you know, I gotta stick with what I did. Next album is Swag by Justin Bieber, and just let me tell you one thing, I did not understand why this album was nominated for Album of the Year. I know that, you know, Daisies, which is a song of this album, did went viral for some days, but then like everybody forgot about this song. But you know, no offense to Justin Bieber, I think that if people see these, the Biebers are gonna be very angry at me. He has had a lot of success in the past, you know, Sorry Baby and all those hits. So that's why I gave him a 1 out of 10 winning probability. Don't see this as a winning album. Now, next album is probably one that, you know, has literally carried 2025 as a whole. DeBÍ FOTos from Bad Bunny. From Bad Bunny. By Bad Bunny. Now, this album was released 5th of January of 2025, and this album is just amazing. You know, it has a great mix of Puerto Rican melodies with reggaeton, which is very sweet, considering this album was an homage to Puerto Rico. The production is great, as I've said before. The lyrics are also very good, and he was like one of the most listened artists of last year. Also, I think this was one of the most listened albums. Talking more about Bad Bunny in itself, 2025 was just a year for him. He, you know, with DeBÍ FOTos, with a lot of relevance, for the same reasons I told you before. She's going to perform at the Super Bowl, which is insane. And also, his career is very big, so that's why I gave it a winning probability of a 9.9 out of 10. And if it doesn't win, it's gonna be very curious. Next album is Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter, which was released on 29th of August of 2025. I believe that this album was good. You know, it had a lot of irony in it, and a lot of controversy.
Oh my god!
Involving the cover. But we talk about more about the controversy later. I think it was a good album. It's just not the best of her work. I mean, I listened to Short and Sweet. It was very good, a very amazing album, and I think that this album wasn't as good as that. It did have some good songs on it, like Goodbye, House Tour, Tears, but we're talking more about the controversy of this album. I think it was the time this album started being announced and it was released that there was a lot of controversy due to the album cover, as you can see right here. You know, I don't think I need to explain why. That was one of the reasons that Sabrina published other cover editions. For example, this one, and this one. Talking more about 2025 for Sabrina, I believe it wasn't such a big year as 2024 was for her. But I mean, she's still at the top. I think she just went viral from these songs for a little bit and that's why I gave her a winning probability of 8.8 out of 10. Next album is an album that's very surprising to be on here. It is a MUTT by Leon Thomas. Let me just tell you this, guys. He in the past, after his acting career on Victorious, he went on to produce for many artists. That's why when I listened to this album, I just love the production on it. The lyrics are mad, but I think what gives it its essence is its production. But I think this was an album that gave him his most fame. Just got known for music right now, and you are nominated for Album of the Year is just insane. You know, he didn't end up being as viral as, you know, other artists in this list, but he still had some virality. But I think one thing that lowers his winning probability is that his career in music is still a little bit small. That's why I gave him an 8 out of 10 winning probability. A trend that we're seeing a lot in this edition is that were released in 2024, which is very insane, to be honest. Next album is GNX by Kendrick Lamar. You know it, he's nominated once again for another album. Once again, he has a lot of nominations. He has like 10 nominations, which is insane, really. Talking more about the album in itself, I think it was a good album. Not one of his best works, you know, considering his whole career. It's like the midway point between perfection and midness. Does midness even exist? That's why, like, some of my favorite songs were 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓼, Reincarnated, Heart Part 6. Now, I believe that he hasn't had as much relevancy as he did in 2024. He's always been relevant, and I think he's gonna keep that level of relevancy for a long time. That's why I gave him an 8.9 out of 10 winning probability. You know, if this was 2024, I would have given him like a 9.9 like I did with DeBÍ Tirando Foto, but it's very likely that he can get the award. Next one is a line called 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓼 by Clips. And let me be very honest, before this album, I had no idea who the fuck Clips it was. I do know that their album was very good, you know, had a great production, it's just iconic. But talking more about this album's relevancy, unfortunately, it has a lower winning probability because this album only went viral on the rap community, you know, because they had a big comeback that excited the whole rap/hip-hop community, and I think outside of it, like the general community, there wasn't much excitement about it, but that's some of the reasons that I give them a winning probability of 7.8 out of 10. So basically, we are now heading into the final album, which is Chromakopia by Tyler, the Creator. And as a Tyler friend, I'm really happy to finally see him get into this category. More specifically, talking about the album in itself. This album has a lot of great production, a lot of great lyrics, and he touches on things that he hadn't touched on before in his previous albums, while also at the same time concluding on things that he had pending in other albums. For example, his relationship with his absent father, like we see on Mayhem. Honestly, I think what's the main issue with this album is that the album in itself wasn't the most relevant thing. It was Tyler, the creator himself, which is more relevant. He then went on a world tour in 2024 and 2025, but also he released Don't Tap the Glass and did a whole bunch of other things across this year. But apart from that, I could easily give him a 10 out of 10. The thing is, we have a lot of nominees in here, so choosing a winner is kind of complicated. But concluding all that, wrapping everything that we talk about this album, I give this album a winning probability of an 8 out of 10. So after everything that we've talked about in this video, what is in fact the album that's most likely to win? Well, the Grammys can always trick us and make a little bit of a plot twist, but after very careful consideration and calculations, the album that's most likely to win Album of the Year of 2026 is... It's not really a surprise. It's DeBÍ FOTos by Bad Bunny with a winning probability of 9.9 out of 10. And do I really need to explain myself? I mean, 2025 was just a whole year for him. Including everything that we talked about, I want to touch a little bit of the things that I told you guys in the introduction. I think this is one of the years that we generally have a really good selection of artists for this category, and that's very cool. I like when this happens. And I think that having a good selection of artists really means that the music that we consume right now is in a very good state. So that's why I'm clinging on to music to forget about the state of the current world and everything that's going on. After all, music is an art, and art is part of the human language. If I am anywhere near to being right, I guess you guys should subscribe to me and call me the master of predictions, because I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Sorry for not posting in a while. I was caught up basically with my life. But if you like this video, make sure to check out all the other videos I have on my channel. Leave a like and subscribe. And as always, take care, stay hydrated, and protest safely. Bye bye!